Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back putting a positive spin on Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, which, of course, we all know was not the final Friday, gets a lot of hate. I understand that. I really do. And most people have it ranked dead last in their franchise ranking of the Friday the 13th films. And I get that too. With that being said, does that mean I think it deserves as much hate as it receives? No, I don't. And I never have. This was the first Friday the 13th movie New Line released, after taking over the rights of the franchise. It's evident that they obviously intended to take the series in a different direction. We all know it was originally supposed to lead into a Freddy vs. Jason movie, which we didn't see until a decade later. But Jason Goes to Hell also introduced some Evil Dead elements into it. Because for those of you who don't know, it wasn't supposed to be Freddy vs. Jason. It was supposed to be Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. As the huge Evil Dead fan I am, that would have been amazing. I do think it's important to keep that in mind when judging this film. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, was never meant to be another Friday the 13th clone. I know that's what a lot of people wanted. We all did, myself included. But we got something different. And that's not necessarily a reason to hate it. This one is also sort of a mix of Fallen and Shocker by Wes Craven. And I'm a big fan of both of those, so that's a positive. And by that, I mean the whole killer swapping bodies storyline, which is a concept I like. Another positive. I mean, as slasher fans, don't we all, in a way, sort of embody Jason Voorhees? Remember, guys, differences don't always have to be hated differences. Especially when we have plenty others in the franchise that just follow suit from the first one. Jason Goes to Hell dares to be different, and that's a positive in itself. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that Jason isn't in a lot of the movie. I get that too. That's never particularly bothered me though, because we already have 11 other Friday the 13th movies with him. Yes, I'm including the films that came after, like Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the remake, and I'm also including the original Friday the 13th, when we only get to see Jason during the dream sequence. Then, of course, there is Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, which also only features Jason in dream sequences. For some reason, though, this one gets judged worse than all the rest. We all know Jason wasn't even the killer in the original Friday the 13th, and he wasn't the killer in A New Beginning. There are even people who take issue with Jason not wearing the hockey mask in Friday the 13th Part 2. That, as you already know, is my all-time favorite slasher film, so again, that never bothered me. It's not like he was originally established with a hockey mask and then took it off for a movie. He was actually established with the sack. Baghead Jason came first. Why am I even mentioning that? Well, it's because most people at least like the look of Jason in Jason Goes to Hell, myself included. I like how his head has sort of overgrown the mask in The Final Friday. I truly do. I love the look of Jason in Jason Goes to Hell. And like I said, I know others do agree with that. As for my other positives of the film, again, I do like the connection to A Nightmare on Elm Street and The Evil Dead. Unfortunately, we never got to see the original planned product of that. The kills in Jason Goes to Hell are bloody and brutal, especially in the unrated director's cut. This movie takes the franchise out of the summer camp, not unlike Jason Takes Manhattan, and I actually really like the diner setting. There's just something uncomfortable about it. We also get the cemetery and that creepy playground. All of that makes the setting another positive for me. Of course, that doesn't mean I don't like the previous summer camp settings. I can like both. A lot of other people try to make it a competition for some reason. It's okay to like two different things. We get some fantastic gratuitous nudity and one hell of a graphic sex scene. Although others dislike the Creighton Duke character, I've always enjoyed him. Speaking of the characters, I know a lot of people also take issue with the introduction of Jason's family, the sister, the mention of his father, but who cares? Yes, we were unaware of them in the previous films, but we know very little about Jason Voorhees when you think about it. To me, it was no different than the introduction of Freddy Krueger's daughter in Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. That film in the Elm Street franchise, to me, is the equivalent of Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. They even have similar titles. Freddy's Dead did a lot of wacky stuff, and so does Jason Goes to Hell. I personally, though, find Freddy's Dead to be purposely silly, while Jason Goes to Hell is more cheesy because of some of the characters. Jason Goes to Hell, in my opinion, really did try to do something new, and I can appreciate that. I wouldn't say I love this film, but I do very much enjoy it, and it's not last in my ranking of the franchise. And for those who don't like it because it's different, again, I get that, but you have the rest of the franchise to watch. I think this one should be judged on its own merits. It's wild, it's entertaining, it's gory, it's fun. And of course, I have to mention that iconic ending. At the time when this was first released, I remember being absolutely stunned. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday was not the final Friday, and it is not the final film in my Friday the 13th ranking. It might be in yours, but I still don't think it deserves all of the hate. Then again, that's just my positive spin. Be sure to watch Jason's as well. What do you think of Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday? Comment below and let me know. Which hated movie will we next give a positive spin? Check back soon to find out. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.